Hello, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I'm the editor of A Compendium of Art, the collected works of Jeri Wagner. Before I mention what this video is about, I should point out that Jeri Wagner is my late wife, and she was a noted New York artist, and she was a long-time employee of the Met. She was there 34 years. And in any event, soon after she passed away, I started straightening out the house, and I came upon a large archival box of her artwork underneath the couch. Okay, covered in dust. I pulled it out, dusted everything off. It was like as if I was an archaeologist. But I said immediately that this can't be hidden away in a dusty archival box under a couch. This is Jeri's entire art life, creative life. And so I cleaned it all up. Most of it was her collage work. She'd worked in several different medium. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do two things now. I'm going to offer one piece for each close friend and family member, and the rest I'm going to put up on the walls here. Jeri didn't like the walls too cluttered, and she never put up much of her artwork either, oddly enough. But up it went, and her friends came by, family came by, and each picked out a piece of collage that they connected with and took it home. Okay. And then the next thing is, well, wait a minute. What about all her ceramics? And I mean, she did these beautiful ceramics. And while she went to the Y on 57th Street for a short period of time from the Met, because that gave her 24/7 access to their kilns and pottery wheels and everything to do with ceramics. And her work was so well liked that she traded her pottery with the pottery of probably the top 5 or 10 potters in New York City. Okay, not bad. Considering that her collage was the top of the pyramid, there's her ceramics. And I'm finding it all over the place. There's toothbrushes in them. They're in the kitchen with utensils. I'm going into all the details. I gathered it all up, cleaned all of that up. And again, like I did with the collages, I took photographs, not great photographs, and I somehow took them twice. And both sets had some the other didn't have. But I corrected all of that later on when I put together this book of her artwork. And basically the collages just needed to be cropped. But so the ceramics got cleaned up, and I photographed all of those. That was easy. That came out really nice. And then I realized there's her photography. So all of that came out, got framed. And again, her top of the line in that was sepia photography. She studied at the International Photography Center. She had a BA in studio art from Stony Brook University, and transferred over to there from Southampton, where she was an art student also. Again, her sepia was her best thing. She used a Canon Rebel that I got her that really allowed her to reach the top of her craft. Again, the best sepias were the Roman sepias taken in Rome. And she hated Rome. She got a bad energy in there. I guess it was all the past violent history. She wouldn't even go into Colosseum. Oddly enough, that's her best sepia, though, out of the Roman Forum photographs. But she's got other great photographs as well. In Greece, at the Acropolis, Cape Soyon, at the Poseidon Temple, and in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. And before we wandered around on Bourbon Street, upon our arrival in New Orleans, we stopped at the famous bar there. I can't remember the name of it, where they served the hurricanes. I had a virgin hurricane. I gave up drinking in 2008. And Jeri really doesn't drink, but she had a full hurricane. And boy, she was, wow, she took off like a rocket. Anyhow, I couldn't get her off of Bourbon Street, and things were getting kind of crazy there. And she refused to go. She was just having a great time photographing everything. And if you see her New Orleans photographs, they're out of this world. So there's her photographs. And then I realized, well, when we first met, she was doing wood constructions, and her influences were Louise Nevelson and Louise Bourgeois. And the collage was Joseph Cornell. But again, she was influenced, but she created her own creative space beyond them. And so anyhow, the wood constructions was the first gift she ever gave me was one of her wood constructions. She had about 15, 20 of them. She used to walk around in our younger days with a glue gun, and we'd be at the beach. She'd be looking for beach glass and driftwood, and that's what she made the wood constructions out of. And I couldn't find any of them, and I remember talking to her about it once, long before she passed away, saying they're pretty much disintegrated, and it's almost impossible to put them back together, including the piece she gave me. But again, as we were cleaning up here, there on the wall of the basement was one intact wood construction, probably her best one, intact. And so I grabbed that, dusted it off, glued the glass, chunk of beach glass that was on it back on. That fell off. It was pretty good for me to do. Not really qualified to tamper with artwork, but I did it. And the only other evidence of any of her wood construction is a picture of the one she gave me in the background at my where I live with my parents. When we were getting ready for Halloween with our friend Bill, who introduced us. And we all had the Halloween makeup on. But right behind Bill is pretty much 3/4 of the wood construction she gave me. So I cropped Bill out. And just the way the picture was taken, I think it was a Polaroid or something. We were kids shooting off Polaroids. And it came out bizarre, but there it is for the book. It's in there, and that's it. There's just two. One is actual, and one is a photograph of a piece. Then there was her fiber. She had 6 tubs of a yarn up there. I mean, everything from really high-end alpaca type yarn to regular yarn from AC Moore or Michaels. But she had 6 tubs of it, and her sister Stacy, I said, what am I going to do with all this yarn? I'm keeping everything of hers, but the yarn. She goes, just put it up on one of the marketplaces up on Facebook and give it away for free. And that's what I did. I said, first come, first serve. A woman was the first person, a young woman. She came here. And you think I had given her the keys to the gold mine of Fort Knox or whatever. She was so happy leaving with 6 tubs of yarn. You got to understand, knitters really love their yarn, and they love to knit. And Jeri loved, she was right out of the Dickens novel, Tale of Two Cities. Madame, I forgot the woman's name, but the French woman who sit there and watched the trials while she knitted angrily. That was Jeri watching 24/7 news, cable news. But I gathered up all her fiber work. She had some looms that we imported from Poland. Apparently, Poland is known for the top line of looms. And I gave one to Jeri's sister Stacy, and maybe 2, and then I have one here up in her what was her fiber studio. And anyhow, so I photographed all the fiber, and then there were some miscellaneous stuff that she had done, self-portrait in college, which doesn't look anything like her, but you can see it's her both of us had this, negative self-esteem. I don't want to say, we did. It was like when we met, then we were like, we became swans or something together. But anyhow, everyone was kidding her about it. All her fellow art students at the South Campus art studios at Stony Brook. And being a good punk rocker, she just picked it up and threw it in the dumpster. And her friend Bobby pulled it out and said, "What are you, crazy? This is a great self-portrait." And she wouldn't take it. And Bobby said, "You mind if I take it?" She goes, "No, but I don't want it." But so Bobby took it and would occasionally ask Jeri if she ever wanted it back, and she'd say no, flat out no. So when Jeri passed away, the first thing Bobby did is let me know that she was going to send me the Jeri self-portrait from her student days, and she was going to send it to our friend Bill, who's also an artist. Bobby's an artist, and Bill was going to brush it up, clean it up a bit. He had the skill to do that. I certainly did. And the only instructions Bobby gave me was, please put it in the gold frame. And that's what I did. I put it in the gold frame, and it really looks great. And so we have that. That's an oil. And then we have an oil, I can't remember either. Maybe Stacy gave it to me or I found it, it must have been done in high school, of like a Native American or indigenous person. And then later, before she got sick, she got into block printing. And she had a good time with that. She'd carve it up and then roll the ink and print it out. And basically, it was about, what I found was about 20 prints of cats. So I only used one of those in the book, in the miscellaneous section at the end, which had the 2 oil paintings that she did and the printed block. And then there was also a kind of like a modern art piece she did on a canvas with shades of red. It's kind of beautiful. It's really classic modern art. But anyhow, that was it. And then I'm like, my God, how am I going to find her CV, her resume, her art resume? Somehow I came across it. Somewhere in my, Word files, there it was. And I pulled it up, and it was current. And it also had her statement, which was beautiful. It brought me to tears. The statement is why she created what she created. And so that went up. And then I thought it'd be nice to put up some Jeriisms, which are kind of like Yogi Berra, yogiisms, except these are Jeri's own type of things like that. And like, for instance, I'd ask her, like, why'd you pick me? And she goes, you're interesting. Okay. You came from a Met family. Why'd you go become such a big Yankee fan? And she goes, they're gritty, and I'm like, how do you graduate from Stony Brook? It was so difficult to graduate from that school where we both met. And she said, that's when you figure out how to get out, that's when you graduate. That is true. Back then it was. Now everything's up and up there. Now it's the top pub. It's it goes back and forth from 1 and 2 in the country of public universities. But anyhow, so I had that in there. I had the editor's note in the beginning, and then I had a summary of a conclusion of everything that the people had just read and seen and looked at in the art catalog that we put together of her work. And then I just put, after that, pictures of us around the world, and with funny comments like, I know when we were in Scotland, my Freemason friends were reading me the Riot Act because we didn't go to Rosslyn Chapel. Well, we did everything but. And we drove by the road, but I can't tell the tour bus, the guy who pointed it out, can you mind pulling down that road? Yeah, I couldn't do that. And we really we were doing short vacations to Europe. That's another story. But so I put up the picture of us on the boat on Loch Ness. which is where the sea monster is, the Loch Ness monster. And in the caption, I said, why go to Rosslyn Chapel when you're in Scotland when you could go on a boat on Loch Ness and hunt for the sea monster? Things like that. And again, I got us into the inner circle at Stonehenge, and our tour guide took a liking to us and made sure she goes, you're going to need pictures. She took a lot of pictures of us in the inner circle. Very nice woman, the tour guide. Very proud English woman, proud of her heritage, which was Stonehenge, and we saw a great sunset there too at that late afternoon in September. But things like that, and Jeri found a list of historic, very old, centuries-old bars in the New York Times that you can find in London. And the top one for literary types is Ye Cheshire Cheese. I know even the name is kind of crazy, but you go down into the bowels of London, down and down and down these stairs and these walls of like brick, I don't know, hard to describe. And you find out that not just English literary giants were there, but even Americans dropped by for a beer, including Mark Twain. And so we went down there and we did a Guinness. Again, this is running long, but the news is that Jeri's book of art, her artwork, her collected works, has been listed at number 1 today by Amazon. Number 1 in the category of women artists, okay? Not a small category. I think you'd be happy if you were number 1,000 in there, considering all the great women artists out there in the history of at least the United States, if not the world. And again, it came in within days. It hit 23, and I said, okay, we're going to float around 23. Then it went up to 28, and then this morning I opened up and it was at number 1. Okay. Now, I don't know where it's going to be tomorrow, but we lock in today at number 1. And that's where we're locked into. That's the purpose of this video. I hope you take a look at the book. It's, again, a compendium of art, the collected works of Jeri Wagner. Have a nice day.